the way that it looks, and possibly they'll look for some keywords. That's about it. So you have got 10 to 15 seconds to make your impact. And let me tell you how you do that. On the resume itself, you would think people start at the top and they just read the whole thing, right? Nope, not right. Most people, about the top third of the page, if you went down to the bottom of the top third, that is where their eyes focus and they start reading. If you want to make your impact, you got to do it right there, because you've only got about 10, 15 seconds of them looking at your page before they make a decision to either go on and look more detailed or go ahead and pitch it. That's it. 10 seconds to make your sales pitch. What you want to do is list specific qualifications and phrases that would be easily recognizable. The problem is, let's say that you're applying for a position that's very technical. Okay? And in that being technical, there are some skills that you definitely have to have in order to do that job. So you have got experience exactly doing that very thing. And in the past, you've got excellent examples of accomplishing the goal. If, though, you put on there that, last year you were able to accomplish doing, setting up a new website or something like that. However, you do not list the programming languages that you had to know in order to accomplish that goal. To the receptionist who has no clue about your job, your resume is going to seem irrelevant. To maybe somebody who would be your hiring manager, they might know that in order for you to do that job, you had to know X, Y, Z, whatever. However, it hasn't made it that far yet. It's only in the hands of a receptionist who has been told to look for certain qualifications before passing that resume on. The reason is they want to interview just a few people, not the whole 1,100 that are applying for that position. Okay, so this receptionist or this administrative assistant is looking for some specific things that show that you are qualified for that job. So you have to make sure that in that location, you're going to hit directly what it is that they're hiring for and show with any necessary keywords or phrases that would make an impact and show that you are capable of doing that. If you do pass the 10-second scan, that means that they have looked at the page and they have decided, this is something that I find interesting. I need to look into it further. Then you're going to get the 30-second scan. Now, this may or may not be done by the same person. If it's done by the same person, they'll have just decided to go ahead and give you some more time and they'll look into it a little bit more. Or that initial person will say, okay, this merits some further investigation, and they will pass it on to the next person who then will give it the 30-second scan. This is usually an HR person, because this HR person is there to protect the company. Remember what I said about them looking for people that are going to give them a hard time? That's exactly what they're doing here. They're wanting to see if there looks like something in that resume that you might be somebody difficult to deal with, or that you might be somebody that causes some problems. They might look at some personal information. They might look at your hobbies maybe. They might look at work history. They could look at a whole bunch of different things. HR employees, by and large, are very skeptical. Because, again, if you get hired there and you're a bad apple, you can cause them a lot of problems. And their job really is to protect the company. They're trying to, that's why it's called human resources. They're dealing with people. They're looking for personality. They're looking for professionalism. They want to make sure that you're, not some yahoo. They're looking for honesty, integrity. They're looking for dedication. These things are qualities that as an employer, you want your employees to have. Right? If you were an employer, wouldn't you want them, the people that working for you, wouldn't you want them to have this so you didn't have to worry about that they were ripping you off or that they were doing a poor job or that they were selling secrets to your competitor? Right? You want to know that this is somebody that you can trust and they're doing the same thing. That HR person, the person that's doing the hiring as well, they're only going to succeed if you actually fit the bill. So if you pass the 30-second scan, this is why they're so skeptical and critical, because if you pass that 30-second scan, you are pretty much, that's a slam dunk for an interview. And that means, basically less than 0.5% of all resumes submitted are going to make it past the 30-second scan. That's how serious it is. So by them letting you pass, they have essentially said, he's okay. She's okay. And they're kind of putting their necks out on the line. So if you don't fit the bill, and if you are a troublemaker, if you cause problem, that makes them look like an idiot later on. So that's why they're so careful. The hidden agenda. This is a potential that you got to be aware of. There's really nothing that you can do about it for the most part. There are some things you can be careful with, but for the most part, some of this stuff is just out of your hands. So you got to be aware that it could happen. If your resume looks threatening, you might not, that's supposed to say make it, but anyhow, we'll just have to go with making it. Let me tell you what I mean. Let's say your resume passed the receptionist 10-second scan. It goes to somebody in HR. They give it the 30-second scan. It looks pretty good. They go ahead and they take that. They'll pick it up. Just take it right to the hiring manager or your potential supervisor. They'll take it and they'll say, here, I think this person is qualified for the job that you are trying to fill. They look at it and they see a whole bunch of experience and skills that offset their own skills and experience. Like that you maybe know a whole lot of stuff and you're probably pretty good and maybe you challenge their position even. That could be a bad thing for you. More than likely it will be. They might say, I don't know, he looks like he's not going to really be a team player because he looks like, he's Mr. Big Shot and this and that. And that's sad because it could hurt you and the company. The company could possibly benefit